Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would sit down and do a video for you guys and gals. Let me go ahead and link the Facebook fan page as we get started. All right, you guys will please follow me there. So over to the topic before we take everybody's questions. We had a good one of these yesterday. Something I want to make clear, my information that I put out will always be updated over the years. It is always going to be updated as I gain more experience, as I gain more knowledge, as the body of knowledge increases. So occasionally you get people who are like, well, why does your mind change sometimes on this or that? And it has to do with the fact that I do keep up with different research, particularly nutrition research. Like I think there's problems with a lot of the exercise science research out there, but nutrition stuff tends to have a lot more funding, tends to be a lot better. So yeah, I will always keep up with those things. I also have been coaching a long time, and the longer I coach, the more I learn as I coach larger and larger demographics of people. I'm gonna change the sort of information and knowledge I put out. So I want to be clear on those things. When I was coaching years ago on here, I dealt with a lot more strength athletes and powerlifters. As I've done this longer, I've dealt with more older populations. Okay, that has been something I've got more and more and more clients in of those over age 40. I've gained more and more clients who want physique transformations. I've gained clients who want to do even physique type competitions and things over the years. And as I've worked with a larger numbers of demographics with different goals, different age ranges, particularly over with me getting a lot more clients over 35, over age 40, which has almost become my bread and butter. So when I give that number, I would say approximately 70 to 80% of my clients are over 35. Over half of my clients are over 40 at this point. Okay. So these are the demographics that I coach, and some of them still do compete in things, whether it's marathons, whether it's powerlifting, other stuff. So yes, my information is going to update over that. And the same thing with my own stuff and my own, you guys can see physique transformation and everything else. I'm going to update the information and the stuff that I put out on the channel. And there are times when I have to say, yes, some of this information was good, but there are better ways to go about things. I've learned more. In particular, a lot of the nutrition stuff, nutrition has literally changed tremendously in terms of what we know about body composition, sports nutrition. That stuff has actually changed in the last 5 to 6 years as more studies have been done, as technology has gotten better. And we have to be cognizant of those things. As we've learned more about things like the gut biome, right? Nutrition knowledge is going to increase. And isn't that something I said years ago? That was something that was being heavily discussed. The fact that the area of dietetics, we are still in the dark ages, and a lot of the leading experts have said that regarding human nutrition, that in a lot of ways we are still archaic and in the dark ages, even in the mainstream, and there is so much more to learn about the human body when it comes to food. So that stuff is going to be always evolving, and then people like me who try to put out good information, our knowledge has to evolve. And again, one of the more recent ones, the whole idea that, and again, this has always been kind of known in the research, we don't even have to really bulk to gain muscle. Sure, we've known it anecdotally, but there's been a lot of traditions around bulking, and it's just the reality of what the research shows, right? Now let's get over and get to some of your questions. And all right, if you guys will give me some likes, we'll get some questions, some comments going. Give me a second here too. Let's get some super chats. Get the goal started, then I'll take this first couple questions. All right, Ezekiel says, I've been trying to get my husband to lifting. Any tips to motivate him? He's 100 pounds overweight. Tell him that you want him to lift. Look, tell him you want him to lift. Be like, hey, I want to get you into lifting. I think it'll do you some good. Why don't you go lift and then ask your husband to go lift with you? Okay, there's your solution. Make it a couples thing. Make it a couples thing. Couples that train together, It's a good thing. Hibachi says, how long after beginning series training did it take you to hit 225 reps on the bench press? I don't remember. I literally do not remember. Okay, that's what I thought. So again, it's been too long. I couldn't even tell you what year I first hit a 225 bench in. I couldn't even tell you what year it happened in, let alone how long it took me to reach it. Kind of like I go, let's see, did I do it 25 years ago or did I do it 23 and a half years ago? What was it? Who was president at the time? I don't know. All right. Just says, Coach will always help us learn and grow. Thank you, Coach. You are most welcome. Right? Ezekiel says, I've been lifting constantly for 5 years. He's very insecure that I will leave him for someone in better shape. That's a really common problem with couples where one person is fit and lifts and the other doesn't. That insecurity is extremely common. It's stuff I personally have gone through myself at one time. The solution there is encourage him to work out. Encourage him to work out with you. And then it's not only are they then in shape and no reason to be insecure, you literally have something that you can bond together over that is a positive experience. Like it's a great couples bonding thing, So absolutely. That's what you need to do. Encourage your partner to get in the gym with you, work out with him, teach him. It's all good. Again, there's your solution. Just be encouraging with it. Okay. I think particularly if they're insecure about it, then that's all the more reason to get them into doing it. All right? Because that's almost ridiculous. That's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. They're concerned, but then they refuse to be part of it too. They're concerned that you're going to leave them because of that. No, get them in the gym. All right? Get them in the gym. Then their insecurity can go away completely. So yeah, just have a sit down and a heart to heart, sit down and have a talk about it. All right. Brandon says plant protein versus animal protein are missing at the end of the day. If I maintain a balanced diet, it's a matter of getting. It can be a matter, but it depends on what you're doing with your protein. Animal protein is always going to be superior to plant protein, okay? And it is very difficult. This is, again, when I've messed with plant-based stuff more and more that I've looked at the more recent research, it's hard to get sufficient protein off purely plant-based. Like, so if you're doing full vegan, right? If you're doing full vegan, it is going to be harder. So yeah, it does matter in that context. So I need a context for your question. All right, we need a context for your question. Looking over all the changes you've had in your opinion on different exercises and diet practices, which two would you think were the worst? Literally the idea that we need to gain fat to gain muscle, probably the worst. And that came even from me listening too much of the starting strength guys back in the day. And look how poorly that went for him. All right. All right. And as far as training, I don't know. I don't know which I would say. Who knows at this point? Because stuff always changes. So I don't have an answer to you on that one. Sorry. Have you ever considered MMA training? Do you recommend in combination with strength training? No, I've personally never considered MMA training. Do you recommend it? Well, everyone does. Okay. Hibachi, literally everyone recommends that. So if I said otherwise, I would be the odd man out, wouldn't I? Then I would have to explain why I'm holding such a controversial opinion that I wouldn't even hold. Ezekiel, I'm not going to read that question out just because that can be interpreted all sorts of bad ways. Brandon, what's the percentage of bioavailability? You're going to have to research every individual protein to get a full detailed answer for that. I'm sorry. That is something that is literally a protein by protein basis that will require you to look it up and keep up with the updated research, because what's seen on that for numbers can actually vary from study to study. And there's also a genetic component for you as a person with it. So you're not going to get anything close to a straight answer on that one. Hey, Jason, are vegans at an increased injury in the gym? I noticed Richard's vegan gains banged up. I mean, a lot of people have said that. I've said that at one time. I don't know what the reality is of that or not, to be fair. Okay, it's an observation a lot of people have had, myself included here and there, but to say that that's truth based upon anecdotes, I'm not willing to make that statement at this point. I don't think that's fair. Les Paul said, well, I mean, the perfect example, a thing that's changing, just one I just mentioned. The fact of what we have on exact studies with calorie surplus and muscle growth versus recomposition, that's a perfect example. How about the studies we have on protein overfeeding? So those are areas that are emerging from larger and larger amounts of data. Okay. That's emerging from larger amounts of data. We're showing now you literally do not have to bulk to gain muscle. You even gain muscle maximum like any sort of traditional bulk. Like literally you can gain half a pound a month and gain 100% of the possible muscle. That's what data is showing. A lot of the data we have on recomposition. There was another one I was going to mention, but I got distracted by Cookie's donation, which I appreciate, Cookie. Thank you so much. So definitely one. How about studies to where we, again, that's just a perfect example, dude. That's the one that just comes to the top of my head immediately. Studies showing that we may not need as much carbohydrate as we think to gain muscle. We don't burn through that much. That again really is about calories to some extent. So again, lots and lots of nutrition data, even as far as it pertains to body composition. Okay. Hibachi says, could he put his son on strong lifts? Yeah. Again, what I would say when you're dealing with someone that age, if you're coaching your son, be very careful of his form and be careful of reaching muscle failure. So really watch for that. Don't follow necessarily the traditional progression. Make sure that he stays a rep from failure. All right. Hey, Paul, I just mentioned though. Paul, I don't cite sources in the middle of a live stream, but you could start digging. I mean, there's, again, huge amounts of data there. Enormous amounts of new data. iPhone. Yes, iPhone, obviously. I know you shouldn't. If you followed all my information for years that I put out years ago on spotting fake natties, I would absolutely fail the test. Okay. So you know my height and weight, you can estimate my body fat. You can plug that into calculators. All right. Davino says, at your recommendation, I tried almond butter in place of peanut butter with apple slices. I noticed amount of oil in it at the top. Do you think if I drank the oil, it would be healthier? No, not necessarily. That's mostly monounsaturated. Dean says, I saw your post about buying some and not liking it. I would have to give the other away. I gave it away to someone already. They're going to take it. Yeah, dude. It's my first time to try to eat fish since I was like 7 or 8 years old, and I threw it up. I wanted to really, really try it. I'm like, let me step out of my comfort zone because I know how amazing salmon is. I looked up a recipe. I put soy sauce and all that in it. I literally vomited it up. So much for that experiment. But that's progress. That's the first time I've been able to get fish to my face without gagging, ever. So I did manage to get a bite halfway swallowed before I gagged and had to puke it up in the sink. So much for that experiment. No, it's all fish, but because I don't want all fish, I only wanted the ones that have health benefits. All right, but it's just fish in general. I can't do it. All right, Cookie, you have another donation. Let me cover Cookie's question here because he paid for this. What are your thoughts on overeating protein on AES since you're getting more protein synthesis? I think that's a great way to recomposition. All right. Hey Lester, you need to ask a specific question on sushi because I don't have thoughts on sushi. So if you would like me to answer a question about a specific food, I need you to please ask a specific question. But back over to Cookie's point, protein overfeeding when on gear works phenomenally well. I mean, we already know protein overfeeding recomps naturals. What do you think happens when you're on substances that enhance protein synthesis in the muscles? I mean, yeah, it works really well. Thoughts on grip strength affecting pressing strength or the ability to squeeze? I mean, only if your grip is deficient, but I mean, how strong, right? How strong of a grip do you really need to bench 315? I mean, realistically. But a grip and forearms are never a bad thing. It's never going to hurt. It's never going to hurt your pressing strength, and it may help just a tiny amount. Is there nutritional benefits of sushi, and have you ever eaten it? No, Lester, I've not eaten. Let me rephrase that. I don't want to lie. I've eaten fish one time in the last 40 years. It was today, and I puked it up the first bite. So I'm the wrong person to ask. Do I think sushi is a nutritious food? Absolutely. Thoughts on amphetamines for weight loss? I would not recommend that. Ivan says, dang, Blaha, thought you jumped on PEDs. Who said I did it? You misunderstood my answer. Cookie says, how can I get my girlfriend to lift weights? She does cardio but won't lift. She wants bigger glutes. If she wants bigger glutes, she has to. You just tell her, right? Just tell her that that's the only way she's going to get bigger glutes. Get her to lift, dude. Not that hard. Be encouraging. Tell her she'll do it. Tell her to go lift with you. Encourage her to do it with you as a couple. Joe, literally protein overfeeding has been shown in studies to do something. So why wouldn't it do anything when I don't have it? So you're telling me the gear magically negates the benefits? She thinks that she's going to become a man from lifting weights. That's kind of silly, right? Sorry, that's just tell her that, look, show her what all the experts out there say about that, including all the women who lift and everything else. And for anyone to even think that in 2024 is a really weird take. I mean, I understand that was a misconception a decade ago that people still believed in, but I didn't think anyone actually thinks that way. Tell her, show her this part of the clip to where I didn't think anyone actually thought that myth anymore in 2024. I thought that was an outdated thing that nobody believed in. Like, I thought that was universally understood on social media. But that's from using male hormones, not from lifting weights. And half the time, those women don't even look like that until they diet down shredded. Okay. I mean, I guess she could get a Brazilian butt lift, or she could do both. Jason, other than vitamin D, what supplements are a must? Whatever one you're deficient in. I'm not even taking vitamin D right now because it's sunny outside, right? So is it even a must? I mean, I'm literally not even taking the supplement you asked if it's a must. So it's going to depend upon your complexion, the weather, everything else where you live. It's be big factors. So take what you're deficient in. I like protein for protein overfeeding. I like melatonin for sleep. You feel like it's the best you've ever looked, even though you're almost 50? Yeah, could be. I think so. I mean, objectively, I think this is the best I've ever looked. And I'm going to keep looking better. Like, there's no reason to stop improving. Telling you, Cookie, it's been pretty decent. But we're only part of the way through it, right? We're in the middle of that transformation. We're in the middle of that transformation still. So there's a lot more to come. Heck yeah, bros. Right? You got to keep it moving. Right? All about the progress. I'm hoping we'll look better, a little tighter on camera this week too. Hey Cookie, if you watch my vlogs, you would actually know that is my number one priority at the moment. In addition to getting leaner, my biceps and my triceps are my highest priority in my training. Right, and a lot of it comes from the years of too much powerlifting without enough direct arm work is why. And I'm correcting that. So I mean, if you notice, dude, I'm doing 20 plus sets of curls after doing pull-ups and rows right now. Just an FYI. Like, I am training my biceps into the ground. Do you think you can get away with not training traps if you do enough over shoulder work along with pull-ups rows? Yeah, to some extent. Depends on what you're trying to do, Nico. Keeping in mind, though, if you do tons and tons of delt work and rows and stuff, your traps are going to get big, especially if you deadlift, right? And if anything, like in my case, I'm messing with the shrugs, but I'm realizing me doing shrugs and putting that extra axial loading isn't helping me at all. I'm probably better just doing more and more delt work for the side and rear delts, and that will bring the traps up more anyways, because I'm already squatting and deadlifting pretty heavy, and I want to keep that flowing. There's no need to keep loading my spine beyond those two lifts. All right. Neck is 19 with no neck training. Yeah, that is a thing with gear. You're on heavy amounts, Cookie. Think about that. Like, you're running 1.8 grams, and it's not super mild your stack either. So I don't know. A lot of people think EQ is mild. I don't think that EQ is that mild. I just think EQ doesn't have the same estrogenic effects. It's not a mild substance by any means. Hibachi, we don't answer questions like that. This is not that type of channel. Maybe you're one of those guys with that step on me mommy fetish. I don't know. Nico says, I've noticed neck size increasing after doing more deadlifting and overhead pressing. Yep. That ester weight is minimal though, Cookie. It really is mild. It's probably because it hits so much harder. Keep in mind, though, the thing when you're dealing with EQ is the ability to get really high concentrations of it. It's in that ester form, it's actually liquid at room temperature. It's not a salt. So if you've ever seen the raws for it, The others, they look like salt. They look like table salt. Whereas in EQ at room temperature is an amber colored liquid. It looks almost like gear that's already finished. It looks very similar. It is literally a liquid. I've seen up to 600 milligrams. Yeah, I've personally seen 500 with other stuff blended with it. Jason, one friend said to me, "What's the point of lifting? We're all going to die decomposed." So the same response to that would be, why, if that's going to be his viewpoint, he doesn't care about his quality of life, then why does he go to work? Why does he eat? Why does he do anything to make his life better in any way if he's just going to die? That would be my response. To me, that is just a completely loser nihilist mindset, and that would be my response. If you're not going to do anything to improve your quality of life, well, but it will improve his quality of life. Well, and if he doesn't get that, then there's a point where you just say, well, you do you. Right? Cookie says, thoughts on doctors saying TRT is bad. I know plenty of doctors who say it's good. So you're talking about the opinion of different doctors who aren't looking at the data, who are going off of old stereotypes that come out of the political spectrum. Which ironically, we literally elected the senator who drafted all those bills and put them onto the floor and elected him the president, which was, I'm surprised more people in the lifting world didn't know that. For those who are unaware, if you want to know who made gear so regulated in the United States, it was Senator Biden who did it. And he's the one who got up and passionately spoke about it to the Senate, and his name was the primary signature on the bills. Pushed all of that through. He got up and gave those passionate speeches about baseball. Lester probably is just jealous. Hey, Cookie, we don't say the T word. We don't acknowledge those people. We just ignore them and pretend they don't exist. All right. Don't give them attention. That's what they want. All right. I got to turn my pinky up when I drink this because I'm sophisticated. A man of culture and refinement. I mean, I play a Gibson, sorry, that's the Fender stuff. I play a Gibson Les Paul, so you know that I'm a man of culture. Have you heard of Doc Heath? No, only in my streams, and I still don't know. I find it so sad how they hate on you and spend money when they could learn how to look jacked. Right? If they just stuck around. Instead of hating, they could just do this. Right? They could just do this. All right. Lester says, you have to respect Big Lenny where people around him, they try to get him to trash you. And he said, you didn't see the problem because you were knowledgeable and help people. Exactly. I mean, think about what I really do on the channel, dude. All I do is help people. That's it. Literally all I do on this channel. I don't know my current fasting glucose. It was a little low. It was below reference range the last time I got it checked. So I was actually slightly hypoglycemic, just by a very, very small margin. I'm talking like 2 points under the reference range. But that's been a while since I had a checked last. It's probably normal. No, I'm leaner now than I was then when I got a checked last. Probably a little better at the moment because I feel good when I'm fasted. Would you consider doing a consultation? Ezekiel, yeah, if you want a paper, I want to get him in, I'd be happy to do that. Yeah, Lester, the thing is, I make way more on coaching than I do from this channel. Like way, way more. So for example, in an average month, I make, relative to my channel, my coaching probably makes $5 for every dollar this channel makes on a month-to-month basis. Like I make my money coaching. This channel doesn't pay that much, but it gets me clients. Dude, you're not going to be happy with your blood work. I'm just going to be honest with you, dude. With the stack you told me you're on, your hemocrite and everything is going to be redonkulous. So keep that watch that blood pressure, man. Keep that sodium low. Keep the cardio up. Do you think doing only leg extensions gets you pretty big quads? I would not do just leg extensions for quads. Do I think they're a great finisher? Cookie, I only get bloods about once a year right now. It's all that bother me. If I'm going to be honest, I know some people think I should do it more. I don't think I need to. As long as I'm happy with how they come out, it's not like they're going to show up different. They've been pretty consistent the last couple times. How do you deal with neck tightness up doing trap shoulders, especially those neck extensions I do with the harness helps tremendously with that. Let's do some neck extensions. I'm not really big on the asynchronous splits. I'm perfectly fine and content and make great gains doing everything done on a 7-day cycle. Hey, Jason, was Christian Bale natty an American Psycho? I don't know. Why would you ever assume an actor is natural when it's in their best interest to get a little help? They make more money. I know, Francis, actors are all about that clean, straight edge living as a general rule. They would never put anything into their body that is considered a drug, like alcohol or marijuana or things like. They don't do stuff like that. Actors are, as a demographic, completely like straight edge, clean. Everybody knows this. So to insinuate that people who are known for that sort of clean living would not use substances to make more money or to enhance their careers is really kind of messed up, dude. All right. I'm sure that he's completely avoids putting anything in his body that's a drug of any type, probably even Tylenol. Because again, being an actor is known for being completely. But what does a physique being obtainable natural have to do with the question? That's a better question. Yeah, obviously. But why would they do that when they can get there quicker and easier for a movie role and make more money, right? Okay. How much do you think Tyson had taken or even stand in the ring for 5 minutes? I don't know. No idea. I would assume he's on at least TRT or something these days. I mean, that just stands to reason. I mean, I could be wrong, but I would assume such. But I don't know. Who knows? I mean, you could ask him and see if he answers. Thoughts on the Z2ZR review? Ezekiel, we don't do car questions. This is a fitness channel. Cookie says, besides, SQ height and weight was the biggest sign of PDs. There's so many guys. I mean, that's the thing, Cookie. The average gear user, most people wouldn't realize their own gear. So we can only point out the obvious ones. Like you can't know. I mean, because every one of us have met guys on a gram of gear who are $170 that don't even have full abs at 170 pounds. Every one of us who are in the game meet these guys all the time. Because when you're jacked, they tell you what they're on. Right. Jason, is there any way to do wrist curls for forearms without hurting your wrist? Assume, yeah, do the standing behind the back ones, right? Like you've seen me do. Those work just fine. Coaches, is it redundant or overlap to perform future curls over chin-ups? No, it's fine. You once said in a video that a power squat is basically a good morning with a knee break towards the end. Is it still? Yeah, very much. I mean, biomechanically, did I not prove it? I mean, Spencer, did I not show diagrams and show the angles? So I actually proved it with angles and pictures and everything, right? So since I've proven that to kind of be the case, how could it possibly change? I feel like it's overdeveloped belts and traps upper back. Yeah, to some extent. Right. Right. But certainly those areas will be overdeveloped usually. Unless they train everything, that's the difference. Do you still back up your previous claim that running builds your pull-up power? Yeah, of course it will. It works the same muscles, just at different ratios. It absolutely will have carryover. So if you get really strong at rows and you try to do pull-ups, you'll probably be pretty decent at them. Okay. And that's a totally fair statement. Just like I would say a person can do tons of incline benching who doesn't flat bench and then come flat bench. And if they got really strong at incline, they'll still have a pretty decent flat bench, even if they've never really done it. It's common sense. Like I don't feel like that's really an unusual claim. It's your favorite cheat meal pizza. I haven't had it in 9 months, but it's my favorite. I'm not even craving it because, again, right now I need to make progress, right? Business first, discipline first. I'll worry about some pizza later. Franco Colombo said in an interview that there's no need to add weights. I don't know about that. I think there is. I mean, at a certain point, though, you're going to be cranking out so many of them. But you can go pretty light. Like, honestly, I've been doing my pull-ups as I do the wide grip, and I do them in a way that really hammers my back. I'm only messing with 25 pounds at this point. Right? I'm only messing with 25 pounds at this point, and it works for high reps. And I'm able to do more than that, obviously. Cookie said, what type of pizza? I don't even know that I have a preference, honestly. Anything from supreme to pepperoni, whatever. I don't really think about it at the moment. How much do you think Arnold took his peak? He claimed, yeah, no, that's way off. That's way off. I had a conversation once with Lowbliner before we fell out, where he said when he asked Arnold, when they were chatting way back in the day, what did he take back then? And as far as D-ball stuff goes, and Arnold told him, I didn't even count. I just ate it like it was candy. Which stands to reason. Considering the size he was at without access to growth hormone, IGF-1, he probably did push the limits. Yeah, stretching, pulse workout, and cool downs and everything. There's no reason to support that. Do you think north of 2 grams? I don't know, Cookie. Possibly. I mean, he could have been. They used to say the rumor was that Minzer back in the day, and it was always just a rumor, that Minzer did 2 grams of Deca a week. It was always the story I heard, supposedly. Again, just a myth. On the other day. No, I'm not big on the OMAD thing. I think that's not optimal. Or 3+D goal. Yeah, I mean, so who knows? For Menzer, yeah. I hadn't heard that. I always heard that he did 2 grams a deca, though. It's insane. I met a guy who does that, by the way. I'm not going to say who because we're on good terms. There's someone who used to have a YouTube channel who wasn't really jacked and went on gear and got really jacked later. Who, when I was chatting with him, he liked to run 2 grams of deca a week with just a low, tiny replacement dose of test, like 100 milligrams. But again, I'm on good terms with the guy, so I'm not going to out him. That's on deca only blast. Not for everybody. Not for everybody. I'd be reluctant to do it maybe completely by itself, but it's viable. I mean, I think you would need a DHT with it, even if you didn't do like Primo or Masteron or something, honestly. Coach, I see so many pencil necks at the gym doing 45 minutes of warm-ups on the effing treadmill and other nonsense. I don't know, dude. I don't see the point. I do plenty of cardio after these days. Like I do a lot of cardio after lifting. I don't ever do cardio before I lift. I don't, ever. Sumo deadlifts while training. Yeah, sumo deadlift's a good lift. There, I said it. What body part do you think women like the most? Glutes. Glutes. Big boys, what do you mean? So are you saying I was secretly in the military or something? Because that's the only way it would be a lie. Because I always maintained that I was never in the military, even during that fake mark stuff, right? So, but let me get rid of it. And everyone who remembers that era remembers and knows that, yeah, I actually did specifically say I was never in the military. And I've also apologized numerous times for the fake Merc thing. It's about to be 10 years, by the way. People are still talking about something I apologized for, publicly apologized for numerous times. 10 years, guys, coming up. Next year will be the 10-year anniversary of that. Yep. No, I don't play video games anymore. Do you ever do a Jefferson deadlift? No, I think it's a silly exercise. I don't see the point. I do conventional deadlifts. You've seen me deadlift 635 conventional. This week I did a triple with 550. Just chalking about. Now, dude, I like conventional deadlifts, but I don't do silly Jefferson deadlift. I just don't think it brings anything to the table, and that's the only reason. There aren't many bad exercises. I just don't see why anybody would bother. I mean, to each their own. I just don't see an actual benefit to that one. All right, I think we're 43 minutes in. About to wind this down in a minute. Do you think fake underdose gear only from a summit? It's less of an issue, dude. I mean, these days with so much independent lab testing, I'm not finding that to be the case. I think the biggest issue you still see today is too many solvents sometimes, too much PIP for some stuff. There's definitely, for some of the really generic brands, there's some fakes. But by and large, there's a lot of quality stuff out there. Again, with so much independent testing and reviews, guys who are putting junk out, they don't tend to last long. Right? We're in a different era. What's the most underdosed or fake? I don't know. It's different. We're not in a different world. Old school, it would have been Primo and Anavar. But here's the thing. How much fake Primo is really out there? And New York Times was it underdosed by 300 milligrams. So, there's that. Yeah, blends and things, trend. Yeah, those things are possible, but they get popped on it if they're not careful. Right? They get popped on it. Again, too many independent tests being done where people are literally coming back, hitting them on, oh, it's 20% underdosed. Yeah. All right, so where are we at? I think I'm going to go ahead and wind this down. All right, guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.